world of non-classical sticking hands. My name is Jesse Glover, and I will be your host. In 1959, I had the good fortune to become Bruce Lee's first student. Modifications of the techniques and concepts that he taught me are presented in this tape. I hope that they'll prove to be useful to you. You have been watching my biggest and tallest student, Tom Seal, stick hands with my shortest and smallest student, Eric Schultz. Tom outweighs Eric by more than 100 pounds, and Eric still manages to hold his own. The exercise that you are watching is the most important exercise that I teach. You should begin every sticking session with this exercise. In the beginning of your training, this exercise will be tough on your shoulders, but after a few weeks of practice, you will be able to build up to a few hundred repetitions, and after a few months, you should be able to build to 1,000 or more repetitions. As you view this exercise, pay close attention to the angle of each person's arms. The height of your opponent determines the angle of your arms. If he is taller, your arms are angled up. If he is shorter, your arms are angled down. And if he is about the same height, your arms are angled toward his chest. This is the underhand position. It matches up with the overhand position, which is this position, what you just saw us doing. Okay, Tom? Yeah, Tom's in the underhand position. I'm in the overhand position. Tom raises his arms. My arms raise up, and I push slightly forward at the top. Then he rotates his arms back to the bottom of the cycle. And then he rotates them up again. At the top of the cycle, he pushes forward slightly. Right? And come back down again. Come back up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Now, the purpose of this exercise is to develop the shoulders, develop the arm position, and develop the sensing that's needed so that you can sense pressure. Okay, they're demonstrating the same exercise. And you can see the size difference in the angle of the shorter man's arms. And he's doing this with a taller opponent. Exercise of two people of approximately the same height, which the angle again is different. Now I want you to watch, when he gets to the top, that he just tries to match strength with me, and I try to match strength with him, rather than him trying to push me back off balance like this. Okay. Another thing, when you're going up, the guy at the top has to be careful not to stick his practice partner in the eyeballs with his fingers. So as you raise your arms, let your fingers kind of drape down. The important thing is that right in the area where you make contact, that your pressure is going this way. So when you guys start doing this thing with a partner, you always have to bear in mind that you're cooperating. You're not trying to prove that you're stronger than the other guy. All this kind of stuff, because if you do, neither one of you is going to make any kind of progress. This exercise is a real important exercise. It's the basis for all of the sticking that I do. I was learning sticking hands from Buddhist. He had all this energy that he could give me because he had arm positions that I couldn't violate. Then when I went to teach other students, all of a sudden I found out that I couldn't transmit the same kind of energy, so I had to come up with a series of exercises in order to develop the kind of pressure and sensing in people that I wanted. This is one of the exercises that I came up with, one of the most important. And to be able to do both halves of this. Your hands in a low position, your hands in a high position. Okay. Okay, this is the empty hand version of the exercise from the lower position. It's how you can practice at home by yourself in front of the mirror. And the reason I show more than one person doing this is because everybody does it slightly different, and they all use slightly. The best way to practice the empty-handed version of this exercise is to do it in front of a mirror. First, practice it facing the mirror, and then with your side to the mirror. In the beginning, take your time and try to develop sound arm positions. After a few practice sessions, you won't need to look in the mirror. You can just do the exercise in the air by feeling. The reason that I show so many people doing each exercise is to show how people with different body structures perform the same exercises. You should experiment with these variations and develop a way that fits you. Okay, he's got his hand in a lower position, one hand up. And this is the one-hand version of the same exercise now. My hand cups over like this. Now he rotates to the top. My hand follows it up like this, comes down to the bottom, to the top, bottom, top. And at the top, he pushes slightly forward, and I match his energy. Okay, now we'll do the other hand. Okay, this is another example. Two people doing the same exercise. Notice at the top, that the shorter man is pushing toward the other man. His arm is slightly bent. The other man is matching his strength, not trying to overpower him. Again, I want you to notice the angle of his arms. I want you to notice that at the top, he pushes slightly forward. Okay, now I want to emphasize where this arm has to be and the pressure. And if this arm comes up and it's too straight, it slips in like this. You don't want the arm to come up with your fingers hooked like this either. When your fingers angle down like this, you want like a pin through here, coming out the other person's wrist. It should be happening You can do it single hand and also a double hand. Remember, just match your opponent's force. Yeah, this is a two-hand over position. Okay, now we're going to take these two positions and put them together. Notice at the top of the sequence, it pushes slightly forward. Note how the shorter man has to angle his arms upward to keep his opponent out. Here, the height is about the same, and the pressure is directed forward. Okay, now we're going to take half of each hand position and put them together. Well, left hand will be like this. This right hand will be like this. One right hand will be like this. This left hand will be like this. And from this position, this hand rotates up. And this hand rotates up. This one goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Once you have mastered the lead-in exercises, practice this rotation exercise as much as possible. You try to cooperate, not try to overpower your partner. What you're working for right now is trying to get the right hand positions and just a little bit of pressure. Again, I want you to notice the angle. Short, with somebody who's tall, you have to angle your arms up. Otherwise, your person's fingers will be right in your eyeball. takes time to develop the proper feel in this exercise, but it is well worth the effort. Now this is the same movement done without a partner in the air. Practice this movement in front of a mirror. In a video like this, the pressure to learn lies with you. In order to get the most from this tape, you're going to have to practice, practice, and practice until you begin to develop a feeling for the movements. Everybody does it, too. Here is another exercise that you can do by yourself without a practice partner. This is a bicycle inner tube with a loop tied at one end. To get the loop, tie a knot near one end of the tube. Stick your foot into the loop and hold it to the ground. With your arm, push forward and up. Be sure to hold the tube secure with your foot. Yeah, this is a way that you can use 2 hand weights or dumbbells to do the same exercise. Another exercise you can use, push up with this hand, down with this one. Flop your hands over and push up with this one, down with that one. Exercise you can use to train the top position. Push out, pull back. This is another exercise. The next exercise is training the palm strike. I use the palm strike instead of the fist to avoid injuring my practice partner. Follow the line of the strike. It goes straight to the opponent's chest. In a fight, the line would travel to the opponent's chin and not his chest. In practice, I like to avoid the possibility of broken bones and teeth, and I restrict the target to the chest. The chest can take a solid palm strike with little more than a surface sting. This is not to say that the palm strike is harmless. It isn't. But in order to do damage, the person must put his weight behind the strike, something that my students don't do when they're working out with other students. This is the alternating palm strike done out of the two-handed rotation sequence. The strikes are delivered at the low point of the rotation movement. Cooperation and patience is the key to this exercise. In order to master this aspect of the training, I would perform this exercise at least a few hundred times during every training session. With practice, you will gradually be able to deliver the alternating strikes from other points in the rotation sequence. I may suggest that if you really want to get something out of this exercise, don't be in a hurry to deliver strikes from other points. To bear in mind that this is just a training exercise. It's not the actual way that you're going to stick once you develop some sticking skills. Once again, we have the opportunity to see the extreme upward angle of a short person's arms when he is working against a much taller opponent. Here the height difference is more than a foot. In the next exercise, we add a back fist to the two palm strikes. In the next sequence, you will notice that Eric, because of the height difference, has to move in closer to the target. Let me point out that this is a training exercise to develop feeling and movement, not actual sticking. Notice in this sequence that Pat doesn't have to move in toward Eric to reach him with the back fist. Eric still has to move in on Pat to reach him with the back fist, but he doesn't have to angle it as high as he did with Tom. In the next sequence, we substitute the fist for the palm. I don't let my students use the fist in sticking with a practice partner where contact is made. But here is how it can be used. Don't try to kill your partner. Shortly it will be his turn. One of the things that you will discover when you practice striking with a fist is that it is easier to strike with a fist than with a palm. It is possible to use either the vertical or horizontal fist, but I prefer the vertical fist because it slides in easier without having to rotate the forearm. The next exercise is alternate striking with the fist. Fist. That's when you're practicing with your partner. And when you carry away with your partner, by not practicing so much. In this exercise, cooperation with your partner is very, very important. Notice that Eric, because of his shorter arms, has to twist his body slightly toward the target with every strike. Pat can reach Eric without twisting, but if you wanted to add power to his strike, he would include a twisting movement. On to the next exercise. The exercise is like incoming punches. Start out from the outside position, the person on the inside position tries to come straight in. You bring your elbows in and fluff the punch to the side. Be sure to move your elbows inward toward the center of your body. If the elbow moves in, the forearm has to follow. I want you to know that everyone does this exercise slightly different. With practice and patience, you can develop a way that fits you. Notice the angle of the striking arms. The next exercise is a single hand deflection exercise followed with a palm strike. The elbow is moved inward as your hand is rotated downward and inward. The instant that the opponent's energy is deflected, strike forward to the chest. In an actual fighting situation, the strike would be delivered to the head. Note how everyone moves differently. If you don't cooperate with your partner in the beginning of this training, you will never develop the feeling needed to make this and other sticking techniques work. I point out that this is an exercise that you do on both sides. Next, I'll show how a back fist works out of a rotation sequence. I am not hitting hard. Next, multiple punches. This is the first time that Pat has worked out with someone as big as Tom, and he is a little in awe of his size. This is kind of an example of free sticking. Okay, now coming with this, person either hit or person blocks. So if you come in, switches to the back wheel. Same for this. Come under, person blocks. Switches into the back. Run it like this. Into the back fast. Person blocks. Putting your sticky hands. We're trying for a very shot. When the person blocks, you should be able to go on continuing technique. Benefit that I teach doesn't use a lot of techniques, but the ones that it does use link together very well.